I think Loud are going to win. I think Loud are going to win. I think Lowe's, right. Listen, they've had some good improvements. I really like what Dark has been doing on this team. I'm always a big Arthur fan. You know, I think his shield play is something to be watched. So you never know. But yeah, I mean, Loud, if they lose a game like this to Lowe's, it's going to be tough for them to still be looking at playoffs, frankly. I will say, back in stage 1, this was a win for Lowe's. It was their first victory of the season, taking that map 7-4. So there's some precedent here for maybe a bit of an upset for Lowe's to come out strong, and they did get a couple of wins in the first 2 weeks. So they're by no means a horrible team to come through. I don't think they should be looked at as some of the other teams in this league where they really don't have a chance. I think they're better than they get credit for. But we'll just have to watch the game and find out as it plays out in front of us. Operator bans have just gone through, and it's a great day for the Luddites as we have a third double electricity ban so far through 3 ban phases, as we again will see Bandit Kai get removed. And then it's Monty and Thermite getting removed on Clubhouse, which I always find interesting because I feel on Club, it's always best to focus in one area. You either remove all the hard breach and make it impossible to open the walls, or you remove all the shields and you really cripple one of the specific shield players in the enemy team. I'm always a little concerned when I see teams spreading out those bans, just because I feel like there's other good options. You can play the Blackbeard instead of the Monty. You can play the Ace or the Hibana instead of the Thermite. There are still other options there, but most of the professionals, I trust they know what they're doing, and certainly it will slow them down if they're not able to use the best hard breacher and the best shield in the game.
Jesse, do you think that if they banned Kaid and Bandit, it would be really cool if they also got rid of all the lights in the map and just every room was very, very dark? Like when you shot out all the lights in Ubisoft's other franchise known as Tom Clancy's Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
I almost said Rainbow Six Zero because, well...
Oh, because he's in the game.
The only real way to play Sam Fisher these days is here in this game because they won't make another Splinter Cell. I was crying in case anybody was curious. Splinter Cell, I think, was the first Ubisoft game I ever played. It is still to this day, those first 3 games. Amazing. Oh my. Down goes Live. You think that Loud is going to win? Well, maybe not this round. Maybe not losing the sledge on entry as Kurt shreds through him and almost loses Basetto. No support whatsoever on these 2 Loud players as they just aggress through that jacuzzi wall. An ITA shotgun does no damage, but Kurtz has never received that memo. 3 kills, a 4th as well. What is STK going to be able to do trying to punish this Frost? Jesse, 3 kills? Could we see an ace in the very first round?
Seems likely. He's got the defuse kit, so he doesn't need to go anywhere, Parker. They have to just keep throwing bodies at him. Hopefully these last 2 can group up and take it at a 2v1 instead of a 1v1. He also has the opportunity to just retreat, but I mean, bomb site's miles away, so getting back all the way to site might be a bit tough for Kurtz. He concedes the top floor and does instead just go to the main instead. But I mean, he's wasted so much time, gotten so many kills. It would be a miracle if his team loses now.
Well, funny you say that, because it was a man named Miracle who got an ace in the previous map. Kurtz will do it this time. And it's a flawlessly won round from Los. It was a one-man show as Kurtz runs roughshod over every single attacker. Who cares about the other 4? Kurtz, not Los, wins round 1.
And there's gonna be, you're gonna look at that, right? And you're gonna say, why are we walking 5? Why are we walking 5 players at the Frost and giving her 5 1v1s? And you wouldn't be wrong to ask those questions, but I do have to say, right, there is some logic that early in that round, 30 seconds in, Live was on a drone and he saw Dark rotating from that Master side back into construction. So you see one roamer in towards Master, leaving that area of the map, and you know, you don't want to waste all of the round droning every little corner, so you say to your teammates, guys, the roam is gone, it's cleared out, we don't have to worry about Master side anymore. And then you do actually have to worry about Master side because Kurtz is actually still stuck around. He gets the first kill on the Live, who just dropped down through the hatch. Then he rotates to kill the Blackbeard, and the second he kills Blackbeard, which rough gunfight for Basetto to take on the BB. Didn't have any support with him, of course. Now you've got Diffuse Kit. Now you've got the game in the palm of your hand, and Kurtz absolutely runs with it. using all of that information that the enemy team don't have. They're scrambled in the early game because they don't expect him to be there, so he's able to secure those 1v1s. And then in the 1v2, again, what does he do? He just goes to a weird spot. He goes to a part of the map where he's not going to get expected. Still getting eager, it seems, in the second round, hoping for a 6th kill, but does get punished slightly on the spawn peak. But either way, a hell of a start for Kurtz. Really good to see him popping off 5-0. No better way to start a game than that.
I mean, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. Most players that play these flex roles, as you can sometimes see Kurtz inhabit, would love to finish with 5 kills. He's already accomplished that, and he's done it in 1 round, so kudos to him, and frankly, kudos to the rest of the team for supporting him. But with every ace, there is almost always a counter to the person who gets the aces play. We saw that Loud team trickle in one by one over on Jacuzzi, giving isolated engagements. There was no support for the Blackbeard. Kurtz took advantage of the Blackbeard walking in. There was no follow-up. Loud then scrambled to get 1 player on Jacuzzi, 1 on main stairs. Neither could get there in time to do really anything, and there was no secondary utility that was brought to try to flush out this Frost either. What on earth are we looking at right now? Runouts have been claymored, so if you want to dive out of the gym or bedroom side of this map, you're going to be in rough shape, as now there's a stare down from Jacuzzi into the bomb site.
Always a little scary when the Jacuzzi wall gets left soft on this bomb site. With the clash, you can definitely see the logic in it, right? You're getting so much good information. The enemy don't have a good way to walk on in. They could just hard breach it, that's one thing, but you can't really do such a thing when there's all these soft angles that you could end up getting shot from. They'll get some drones in and they will find the Azami, but they're still just fishing for these kills. They're relying on low stepping out and over swinging, but with perfect information from the clash, they have no reason to do so. The pressure is on Loud. They haven't taken much map control. They have 1 player inside of Cash at the moment, but really it's been a very slow round so far. They've not done a whole lot other than information. Good firebolt to force out Farius and get the first kill.
It was a great look from Loud, using their utility so well. My only concern on the side of the attackers, the time. 30 seconds left, and you just barely established a foothold towards this bomb site. Jacuzzi is still mostly closed. Your window of opportunity to get through is quite small, and your timing of opportunity is also closing that same window. Arthur will be the impediment as he sets down his shield. Oh, thinks otherwise. He's being watched on drone. As Dark is side by side, there goes Flastry. Bassetto with a kill of his own. Kurtz will suffer after not doing anything this round. Amidst the toxic gas, Loud sprint on in. Bassetto has found a safe place, and Legacy will be last man standing, but Perez is there for insurance to cover for his teammate. Excellently played by Loud as they lock out Los' re-entry to the bomb site and tie things up.
It's not pretty, but the util use was actually quite good in that round. Again, I was so worried about the clock, Parker, with time getting so low. There was 2 seconds on the clock and 6 people alive. You don't see that very often. Just at the last moment, Bassetto was able to get that plant down. He's outside the gym window basically the entire round. So he knows what the clock is looking like, right? He's very aware of his position and where he's going to get that plant down. His teammates eventually do a good job of clearing players out. That Capital bolt from Live, absolutely critical to get the opening pick on Nefarious. Once you've cleared the player out of gym, I should say, that's when the round really begins. And even if it took 2 minutes and 45 seconds, that's all it really matters, is that you got that job done. You opened up yourself for a plant. Pure chaos in the last 10 seconds of that round as everybody hit the deck on both sides. Bassetto really taking things into his own hands. It's been hard supports all day, Parker, that have been thriving. In game 1, of course, it was Bach who was popping off on the SAS operators. Now we're starting to see some big plays out of Bassetto too. It's been nice to see the little guys step up and maybe be some of the unsung heroes.
Yeah, I mean, support plays a very thankless role. I remember it was Goddess ages ago was talking about this and some of the heat that she was getting for her position on Sonics, and she's like, look, I play Thermite. I spend 2.5 minutes droning so that my team can hopefully capitalize off of those kills. If they fail to get those kills, now I have to fight the entire team basically by myself or what remains. If they do get those kills, then great. My job looks super simple and they get all the glory, not me. But if we get some kills, or maybe we get no kills, After I'm done droning, I need to walk into that Viper's pit. I need to bring in the diffuser and hope to God that there's no utility to kill me. Because think about it. You spend 2.5 minutes droning. You don't find a lot of success. You walk in, you die immediately. Really easy to point fingers at that player. I mean, we've done it. Community does it. Even other pros do it. So it's nice to see that supports can get visible achievements. Because as we say with things like bandit tricking and things like C4s and all that jazz, a lot of times the things that you are doing to influence around don't show up on the scoreboard.
We head back to the same bomb site as round one. This time, hopefully the master side clear can go a little bit better. We won't give up 5 full frags to Kurtz this time around, and it does look like they've managed to accomplish that. Taking this space inside of master, inside of gym, now on the construction windows as well. Doesn't mean it's fully cleared out. Kurtz is still roaming towards Logi, and it'll be Live who actually strikes first onto the... No way, thank God. If he gets that kill, there's a world he gets a second nation in the same position, but he's shut down.
Yeah, Kurtz will find nothing on that Logi rotate that's now been opened up by the Selmas, tossed out by Flastry. And Nitro SAL from Dark aimed towards construction. At this point, Los will take anything to keep those numbers close. Loud have pulverized the first 2 defenders they've seen. Nitro SAL goes out and it connects beautifully. Flastry dies. There was somebody watching on the side of Loud from that construction window, but I think there was a bit of a blind spot. These 2 remaining Los defenders, Jesse, bogged down over in construction by Cash. Top red, look at that. Legacy can continue to plug these holes. This is not a gym bedroom take. So Loud now needs to focus on the real bomb site, and they are stumbling. They lose yet another player as Perez bites the dust.
25 seconds, you're walking into shotguns. Good luck. This is really not where they want to be. Dark cannot be removed from this position. They've got a vert angle, but they aren't even hitting the shots. They can't find the shot to kill him.
You gotta go. It was a 5v3, and now it's a 2v3. Make that a 2v2. Bassetto's the last man standing. He's in a 1v1 against Farius. Will Farius hide? Bassetto has diffuser. He has no chance. He tries to bait him out with the sound of the case, but Farius sits back and waits patiently, knowing at that point, he just gotta hide. If the Nomad wanted to carry through with it, it would have taken 7 seconds, at which point Farius was more than close enough to get the kill, or at least force them off of the plant. Well played by Los to counter the aggression of Loud. Jesse, Loud got those first 2 kills sweeping the offsite players, but then the rest, entrenched in the bomb site, just stood and waited. Why? Because so much of Loud's focus had been on the exterior and not the interior of the site. It was a bit of a struggle and did not set themselves up very well to tackle those remaining defenders of Los.
I mean, it all comes down to the push itself. Like, it was so one-dimensional with every single player trying to push from the construction side of the map. I'm not even 100% sure if they got the CC wall. It was jammed at the very start of the round, and Flastry was having some troubles with it. I don't think we got to see. He might have been able to use one Selma to open up the wall about halfway through that round, but then nobody was playing on it. At the end of the day, Perez rotated over at one point, but then dies to Legacy, and as soon as he goes down, you got to deal with 4 guys coming in from construction. They don't do a great job of breaching the con wall either, and so it's just a complete disaster. Shotgun close range is going to beat you every day of the week. The vert play doesn't come through for you either, as it's just missing its mark on the player in the corner. I mean, from all fronts, that really did fall to pieces for Loud. And I think that's kind of one of those pushes that you only see from a team that hasn't played Clubhouse in 10 months. Last time we saw them play this map was in November 2024. It's been a while since they've been here, and you got to imagine if they had some more reps, maybe a push like that looks a little bit better. But today here against Los, it's just not able to get put together, and well, they'll go down 2-1 in this game.
Clubhouse has been steadily creeping up the play chart here in SAL. It is the 2nd most played map entering the day. It won't likely have a chance to surpass the first played map, which is, or the most played map, which is Lair. Lair was ahead by a full game, and well, the first map of the day was just played on Lair, so the Clubhouse is quite defender-sided. It's not the most defender-sided, but with its play rate, you're expecting the defenders to win 4 rounds. Anything less than 4, and either something has gone wrong with the bans, or you have a mismatch of teams' potential, so Los is half the way there. I expect, just based on the numbers we see, this will probably duplicate, and we'll see a 4-2 scoreline for that first half. Really does depend on how Loud plays this out. Round number 1 could have just been lightning in a bottle for Los that was captured. Can't catch it twice. Kurt's beating everybody. Okay, well, that wins you a round. Is that sustainable? No. Is that still a 1 round? Absolutely. Los are the better team for it. Halfway point now of the round, and Loud setting themselves up on the main floor of Clubhouse before moving to the bottom floor bomb site.
Yeah, it'll be a slow round here where you're probably going to look for a 5v5 execute in the last 45 seconds or so. They've got plenty of soft reach up above thanks to Live rocking that sledge. Hatches shouldn't be any problem, of course, with this Hibana as well. A little surprising. It took us 4 rounds to get to the basement, but Los deciding it was more important to secure a win on CCTV cash the first quarter so they could repeat it back in round number 6. That's a tactical decision that they've made. Means that this will likely be the only time we see the bottom floor from Los, unless we get all the way over to overtime. Chance they lose it and run it back, but I would say that's pretty low. Church wall gets opened up more or less from STK now, as I think he got some good angles on it with the Hibana. The push has got to start coming at some point, Parker. 40 seconds. Paceto is likely to drop in Logi with the defuse kit, so that'll be the main brunt of the push, but plenty of dimensions to this one.
Farius in such a tough spot now in blue as those bees circle around him, giving information. Legacy also being tracked as well. 2 players of Los on the radar for Loud. They have to capitalize, though. And still, Farius is in this spot. He's entrenched as well, just as we saw from the defenders last time. Los not giving an inch. Farius was spotted. He takes 1 down, but Loud answers back with 2 of their own. Everybody falling by the wayside on both sides of the coin, but it's Los coming out ahead in these blows. Defenders will win the round based on time. Wait, no! Loud getting all the kills in the last minute. What the hell just happened, Jesse?
Flashtree happened, Parker. Flashtree happened. What a ridiculous end round coming out from the re-picked up player on Loud to come back to his old team. He was playing around blue that whole time, right? Trying to work in with the Grim, get some good information. The bees didn't go his way in the end, so he said, screw it. Let me just walk down these secret stairs. Found Darius first, found Legacy next. They all started lining up for him as then he just hit some brilliant shots in towards the site. Besetto was also planting at that same time in through church. We were so focused on blue with the diffuse, with the observing, as were all of the defenders. I mean, that's where the action was. It was chaos in towards blue, and Los threw all their bodies there. I don't think they even realized Besetto had simply walked in through Moto, killed Kurtz, and started the plant all by himself. Lots going on at the end of that round. The last couple of players on Los were forced to peek because plant was happening, and Farius ate them up 1 by 1 by 1. Perfectly played. Flashtree, I should say, not Farius. Super well done coming in from the Grim and the newest pickup onto Loud.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
This has been a thrilling matchup. We did agree that while one team might have the upper hand, we expected it to be balanced based on their results. Just as in our very first match of the day, where ENX and Black Dragons entered with the exact same scoreline, Loud and Los have the same on their standings as well. 2 regulation victories, 2 regulation losses. Good enough for 6 points. In terms of rounds won, Los, 20 rounds won, 19 rounds lost. Loud, 21 rounds won, 22 rounds lost. Very, very close in terms of the standings. Obviously, this doesn't take into account the strength of the schedule, the people they played, because Loud's victories are literally over Black Dragons and 9Z, the teams in 9th and 10th place. So Loud's picked up 6 points by beating the 2 bottom teams in the region. Okay, fair enough. What about on the side of Los? Los also beat 9Z, but then beat Liquid 7-3. So just simply based on caliber of opponent, Los should be a little bit ahead. We are still early in the stage, so plenty of time for these teams to show up against the better teams in the standings. Nice first pick by Loud, as Kurtz was looking to be about as successful as he was in that first round. Jesse, he went 5-0 in round 1 and has been 0-4 since.
Yeah, playing solo down below the site, it's honestly a really good clear by STK. He had the death mark, he could have gone for the track, but that would have just given away his position, and he already had pings on Kurt, so he said, why don't I just wall bang him instead? At about 90 HP, and then easily catches him on the cutoff too. So really good clear, I think, from STK down on the Deimos. Doesn't get banned in this matchup, and so instead it'll be the second hard breach of the ace. Now with a man disadvantage, you got to wonder, are Los going to be forced into making a play? Is somebody going to retake down below? Is somebody going to have to swing into construction and play off those lodging mirrors? Or do you just trust in your ability to sit 4v5 inside the bomb site? These Kivas and the mirror windows too, I honestly don't hate that strategy either, but they need to make a decision at some point. This push from Loud will be very telegraphed coming in through construction. Very classic push to come forward, so they should be ready.
I like the patience from Los. They heard that the dread mine went off a number of times. Farius likely giving that information to the rest of the team if they didn't hear it, but they don't want to pressure Loud, give their position away because they're already trailing in numbers. They'll use what utility they have as it's a hit from the back. Live and Basetto sweeping through the defending lines. Dark, the only player from Los on the board, and he's miles away from the bomb site. All of his bullets deflecting off of that Blackbeard is now his work being done in construction will be quite damaging. Followed by STK, who manages to get him with the death mark, and then with the sidearm as well, giving Loud the lead. Again, Jesse, these two teams so evenly matched, they will go back and forth, with a team never getting more than a single point ahead of the other.
And you can say whatever you want about Loud and maybe the struggles they've had this stage, but one thing about this team is they will stick to their identity. This team loves to take their time in the round. They love to focus the plans. Basetto so consistently using his time and then getting in at the last moment to put the kit on the ground. That was probably the best push we've seen from Loud all day long, and it comes off the back of that first pick down below. I already complimented how good SGK was at clearing out the one roamer down below the bomb site, but then just playing with your utility, taking your time to clear out the dread mines, pushing as a team in through construction, in through the site windows. Basetto, yet another plant in on this game. So far through the matchup, he's had two different plants back on round 4 and round 5, so back to back. Could have had that plant on the gym bedroom round 2 as well, where they got the W's. So very plant-focused player, Basetto. He currently leads the South America League with 6 plants coming into this. He'll be at 8 now after this game, and could be 9 if they can get another one in round 6. I always appreciate watching a team that have such a clear identity on how they like to play the rounds. Sometimes makes you a bit more easy to read, but I mean, if you know how your playstyle works, if you're very comfortable playing one certain way, then I mean, why not? You do what you do best, and it can be really tough to counter.
Final round of this first half, Jesse, before the side swap comes in. Remember what I said long ago, where I said this is a defender-sided map? Los have lost the plot at this point. Will not be able to win the first half, which means that they are letting the advantage of the better side go to waste. I think that sets Loud up quite nicely, which again goes back to your point about, you thought that Loud was going to win. It's been a very frag-heavy lineup for Loud. The guns that they've been bringing time and time again, hit hard, high rate of fire. I mean, on Clubhouse, you do need utility, but South America's always been a bit of an abnormal region when it comes to approaching utility-heavy maps. You know, I remember watching a Villa game where there were no hard breachers being brought at all. How do you attack Villa without hard breach? I don't know, but it was working. So, I mean, it's definitely doable, especially if you're playing up against a team like Los, who you feel like doesn't have the best grasp on the map.
Util's going to be good enough to start clearing through on this site, Util, though. The Habana, the last hard breacher that they'll have, I guess, along with the Mav and the cans, but this should get the wall open pretty nicely unless there's an impact to come through with it. They do pop the mirror window, but the impacts, actually Dark's got an impact. It doesn't quite hit though. That reduced radius as of a couple of months ago will come back to bite, and so the wall gets open for Loud. That's exactly what they didn't have last time they went for this push. Now they've got that second angle into the site. It's actually not a way that you can walk in. The impact got the lower set of X-Kairos, so you're going to need to breach that a little bit more if you want to walk in through the wall. You've got an angle, which is nice, but really, if you're trying to plant, you've got to do a little bit more work here.
Golden opportunity now for Loud to lead off the killing. There goes Kurtz yet again. 5-0 in round 1, 0-5 since. A rough go of it on his roll. Seemed like in round 1 he knew where everybody was. Since then, it seemed like he's known where nobody was. The duality of man, I suppose. This allows Loud to put pressure outside of the bomb site. Down below, trying to chase off these defenders, as you see STK doing just that. Low suffering through this, but still sitting in a very good position because of the time. A botch nade from Loud will go out. STK punishing Farius. Nades going over towards red stairs to push one of the defenders off the last mirror window. Legacy on the board for Los. Time running out. Los still holding true. There's only one of them remaining, and Flashtree will get both kills before the diffuser can get planted. Welcome back, my friend. Loud takes the first half 4-2.
And I mean, it's the same round every time, Parker. It's the same strategy. It's different bomb sites, it's different operators, but they're going to take their time. They're going to clear the map. They're going to go for a push in the last 20 seconds. Bassetto's going to hold F. Flashtree's going to be holding the cutoff to get all these powerful kills. I mean, it really is just the Loud playbook over and over again. And even though this is a map they're not familiar with, even though they haven't played Clubhouse in 10 months at this point, they're still looking so good on it because they can still keep playing their game. This is a team that has consistently maybe struggled if they don't get to set themselves up. This has been a long trend for them for the last 2 weeks, where currently they have a 10% win rate when they don't get the opening pick. Their recovery has been abysmal. But in that first half, Los didn't do a whole lot to disrupt Loud getting set up for their push. Every time it felt like it was going to be 5 players that were going for that execute. The one time they were able to disrupt it was a Kurtz 5K. But then after that, Kurtz disappears from the scoreboard, doesn't find a single kill through the rest of the half, and it's Loud all day long. Now they get to swap the defense. You're right in thinking this is a little bit better of the side for these two teams. So you've got to imagine this game could start to spiral out of control. Both these teams slightly better on defensive side than they are on attack, but honestly, the percentages are pretty close. So I wouldn't write this game off for Los, but it's really important they get started early in this half. You cannot let Loud go up 5-2, 6-2, and then just be able to rotate through all their bomb sites to close out the game. You've got to put pressure on early. Make sure that they can, you can give yourself a bit of a buffer, because it's likely there's going to be 1 or 2 sites you struggle with on this map, and you can't let it get to the point where that's all Loud need to win.
Scary spot for Los to be in for sure.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Clash did not last very long on that first half. Go figure. We will have at least 3 rounds here to witness the newly revamped Defender. We have not seen a Denari today in either of our matches. Are you correcting me?
No, I'm agreeing. No, we have not seen a Denari.
Oh, and now we will not see a Ying this round, as STK pulverizes Legacy at the secret window, and immediately Los is down by 1, and not just 1, but a heavy utility operator that was certainly a major contributor to an execute. Los will be a 4v5 for the remainder of the round.
Another big entry kill for the primary entry player on Loud, Stroker, better known as STK. What do you do without a Ying on this push, man? I mean, you still got the Grim for Farius. You still got the Monty on Arthur. Again, I think Arthur is a very proficient shield player. I've really liked his shield play back in the old E1 days. He's kept up the shield play since joining as the team captain of Los, but he hasn't had the same level of success. Now with the hatches opening, it's going to be kind of telegraphed where he wants to go. It looks very similar to that last push we saw from Loud on this bomb site, where a shield took the defuse kit in through Moto, and then everybody else was focused over towards Blue. Get a bit of a change of pace. It looks like they're starting to open up Dirt Tunnel, and Kitchen Hatch might be an objective for them as well, but broadly, this should be a push that Loud know how to stop, because, well, it's the same push they went for. Sen's walls might change things up a little bit and might give them a bit more of an opportunity if they want to drop in through Kitchen Hatch, but we'll have to see what the strat actually ends up being. I guess Arthur at this point could still go anywhere. It's up to Los to keep this guessing.
You buy yourself so much time with that very first pick. It's one thing if it's a defender. If you pick off a defender pretty early, yeah, you might want to stay the course. But as an attacker, down one of the linchpins of a successful execute, it's going to be much harder for them to pull off. They rely quite a bit on Sens, using the wall to keep information away from these defenders. Arthur will attempt the plant as they watch for a nitro cell down by main door. Los looks like they're going to be able to get away with this. Arthur lit up by Flashtree, but still survives the onslaught as Dark from above punishes live. Loud losing 1. This will be mighty tough for the defenders to regain their footing. The attackers on the side of Los have full control of the main floor. And it's a Tie game in terms of numbers. Down goes the Monty, so now you will rely entirely on that hold above. Farius on the board as Basetto guns one down, joins a second. Farius gets two, and it's a 2v2 with very limited time remaining. An excellent look from Los, as Kurt's now taking some serious damage. His first kill from round number one, make it a double. The timer's past the point of no return. Basetto will pat his stats as Farius kills just about everybody. Los wins the round off of a mad scramble. What an impressive bounce back. You lose the Ying. You lose the ability to overwhelm those defenders near the hatches. You lose the ability to paralyze them. You buy yourself some much needed time. You pull it off with a single smoke and the Sens wall. Loud is none the wiser, and Los are perfect in their coverage on that middle floor. A fantastic execute from Los that looked like it wouldn't be possible when we were 20 seconds into the round, but looked mighty good when there was less than 20 seconds remaining.
You got to be kicking yourself if you're Flashtree in that round. He had the perfect denial. Sens walls are great if you're going up against a Warden, which they were, but they're less great when the enemy has 4 impact nades in their pockets. And Flashtree had the perfect counter to the Sens. He had the angle to shoot Arthur's feet. He emptied his entire clip into Arthur, but it just wasn't enough to stop him before the plant went down. Left him with 1 HP. If one more of those bullets had landed into Arthur's feet, that would have made an entirely different round. It probably would have been Loud going up 5-2. This game would have been looking really dire for Los, but you miss a couple of shots, the kit goes down. Farius and Kurtz play really well in the post plant to lock that down as well. That's the reason why you plant with the Monty, of course. That's the reason why this operator is being brought, because it's so tough to stop a plant with Monty. It gives you such a small angle to shoot those feet, but just slipping away from Loud now on that one. We'll have a couple more opportunities, but Los are still very much in this matchup.
Nice to see a Jaeger make an appearance. We've been seeing an awful lot of Wamai today as teams determine which of these operators they want and think is best for the job. Jaeger's ADS gadgets receiving a change when CJax came online a couple months ago. ADS now catches Gridlock's track stingers, Capitau's fire arrows, things that used to be only in the wheelhouse of Wamai, so making them a bit more even. It has bumped Jaeger's pick rate up from about 0%, where he was sitting for much of the previous years. Or, well, year, I suppose. Wonder when they're going to give Jaeger his ACOG back, Jesse.
I think it's coming the next update.
I think it just made a bunch of people mad, and I apologize for that. You say you think that's going to happen after they just took his ACOG, well, not his, but everybody's ACOG away, except for, what, DMRs and slug shotguns, so.
It's going to be DMRs, slug shotguns, and Jaeger. I think that's where the game is going, direction-wise.
Oh, a rare Zofia sighting here on the side of Los, so how has Farius applied those explosives and those concussion mines so early? Just past the halfway point of the round, and it's Los knocking on the door of this cash bomb.
We're loving the con takes today. I guess with the Capitao ban, it's going to be pretty tough to get in through Garage, but all of these teams loving the idea of just pushing in through Master. Again, the real key with this is that you do have some kind of a second dimension. Somebody's got to be on that wall. We saw how good Flashtree was in that position in round 6. Looks like it'll be Farius taking up that spot this time around. So he'll be there. Kurt's down below to walk up red stairs eventually. With some Grimbees, they will get a freebie, and that will be the 8th frag for Kurt's, now doing much better on the attack than he was on defense. Opens things up for the initial frag, but 35 seconds gives Loud a chance.
It's still a good gun, even if Zofia's received some nerfs. Loud having some serious problems now. Looking Flashtree cook up. Looking for an exploit over towards construction, snapping onto 2. That's all he'll find. Dark will shut him down after that and look for a second of his own as Los breaks free of construction. Over towards Cash. Basetto missing Arthur, punished for it. Now it's up to Live with a Blackbeard chasing him down, and Arthur will get the final kill to tie things up. My goodness, look at that cry that we see rip through the Los bench. 2 very swift victories and an attacker-sided clubhouse unfolding in front of our very eyes. Both of these teams back on even footing, and it prompts Loud to take their time out.
Honestly, Los look a lot like Loud did on their first half. They're taking these attacks really slow. They're getting a lot of map control without being contested, and so they're using that space to work picks, work themselves an advantage. I loved the use of Grim in that round. Such a powerful operator. I think maybe Grim the most underrated operator in Siege. The pros know how good he is, but I just feel like we don't see him enough when we're playing in ranked. Either way, gets great value in that round. You get the vert pick from Kurtz down below. Then in that push, yes, it gets a little bit derailed by the flank from Flashtree. I thought that was going to completely turn the tides, but he only gets 2, and that's not quite enough to stunt the push in the end. The clash play from Bassetto, I wasn't a huge fan of. He had a teammate right behind him, so if he plays a bit more aggressive, keeps the shield up, he's probably able to enable more kills for his teammate, but instead he puts the shield down. He tries to take the game into his own hands. I don't know about that decision in the end. It doesn't pay off for him. And then we get down to about 7 seconds where I get really nervous because Arthur is not planting, but Arthur says, I got a Blackbeard. This is the only gun my team ever lets me play. I need to use it. Hunts down the final frag, and it's all fine. Los do win the round in the end. Every single round today, Parker, between these two teams is going the full 3 minutes, and I kind of love that for here on Clubhouse.
I don't think we will have a quick day today. For those that are watching and wondering what is coming next, we've got 2 other teams right up next that are on the outside of the playoffs looking in. It'll be 9Z, who entered the day in last place, going up against, yes, you're going to hear this and think to yourself, what is going on? W7M, who are in 7th place, the team that won the Montreal Major about a year ago, finds themselves on the outside looking in. Based on the numbers, they should win that match, but anything can happen. A newly revitalized Ninjas in Pajamas sitting just outside of the top 2 will go up against Team Liquid, and then we have the teams in 1st and 2nd, at least for now, in FaZe Furia to round out the show. That will be a thrilling contest. I have no doubt there are always fireworks set off when those 2 teams do battle. They'll be coming in a couple hours, probably like 3-ish hours, give or take, if you want to set a timer, but let's get through Los Loud first.
Yeah, you don't want to leave this one at 4-4. Los have started to crawl back. They've tied up the game after getting a real deficit in that first half, and now have been doing a good job to make things happen on every different bomb site. Gym Bedroom is our newest battlefield, and what an interesting lineup with the Collie coming out from Farius. We've got the Monty still here, Kurtz down below on the Deimos. They've got a lot of tools, but still it's been a pretty slow cash clear so far. Bassetto is on red just with this clash, and you've got to really wonder what is their plan to deal with this guy. Could toss an air jab at him, could try to walk up red, but no matter what they do, it's not going to be easy.
The clash will reposition now as Bassetto with 9 kills tied with Flashtree on the side of Laos. These support players still really racking it up, both outnumbering every player on Los, as Kurtz has found some fire. He's back to his killing ways. Bassetto's attempting to draw them out as now shields will collide over by this cash door. A nitro cell gets tossed out on the side of Loud, finds nothing, and they will have to retreat. It looks like they'll mostly all bail away. A goofy looking Kiba barrier, but one that still works nonetheless, as that clash had blasted Bassetto's, or rather the Collie blasting the clash of Bassetto's shield, but unable to follow up on that. Loud has managed to get their way out of a bad situation and buy themselves some serious time.
Yeah, they've really wasted a lot of time on that cash extension, but my problem is you've let Los get set up with 5 players once again to go for a late round execute. One thing both teams have been doing expertly all game long is late round 5-man executes. The fact he didn't get a kill on the cash extension worries me a little bit. I do think Loud are in the better position, but the history in this game says otherwise.
Continue to chip away at those walls with the bolt action sniper brought by Farius, as Los only have 20 seconds to pull this one off, and they'll decide to go for the windows live, punishing Kurtz. Bassetto gets dropped. Arthur will follow shortly thereafter. Loud winning the way as they come to blows. Legacy bleeding out outside leaves Dark with 9 kills to do something, but STK will show both of them the door. Loud takes the lead after Los had put 2 rounds back to back, blowing Loud's timeout in the process. But hey, finally, a victory on defense for Loud.
Not sure if I'm so sold by that collie pick from Farius. He uses one lance really early on, and then it feels like the sniper rifle is much more of a hindrance than anything else to the rest of that round. Great job from Loud to be able to sit in the site, play around their Kibas, play around their shield, and stop that entry from happening. You knew where they were going to come from. They were all mostly on the windows. They do have a player walking in through construction. That's Dark, who gets the one and only kill onto Basetto. I'm honestly kind of shocked we get a clash ban. I guess it was quite powerful in that cache extension where we were just watching. I do think late round, Basetto he's very addicted to putting the shield down and swinging, which hasn't worked for him at all. But regardless, it gets them great value in the early game. So I do think it's the right operator to ban in the end. Gets answered with a Monty ban, so probably expecting the Clash would get removed. While you've been countering the Monty really well through the third quarter, without the Clash, it's going to get a lot tighter. It's going to get really difficult to respond to Arthur on that operator. So fair enough to remove both from the field. And Parker, you were asking for it. We finally got Denari.
Well, I wasn't asking for it, Jesse. I just said that the newest operator had not shown up yet.
So you hate Denari? You didn't want to see him? You hate Denari?
Okay.
That's
You're putting words into my mouth here, and I do not appreciate that, okay? Denari is the newest operator to join Siege. If you have not followed any of the R6 Siege X esports or any content, you will be surprised at what this new operator does. Real jack of all trades. A really good lineup in terms of gadgetry, good guns, soft destruction, deployable shield, and then these trip mines that you throw down, and if you can see one or two of them connect to each other, then you end up with these like laser grid that comes out that slows down attackers and does damage in the process. The one tricky thing about an operator like Denari, you can put those little trip mines in areas where they cannot be shot, and unless you have utility burn, there's no way you can deal with it other than just walking right through.
First Candela does get tossed out, but it is stopped by that Kiba barrier, so you're not going to get much off of it from that. Nice early round play coming out from Basetto. Still just playing up pretty aggressively on these secret stairs. Could get punished with the second Kiba, or with the Candela, I should say, but the Kibas continue to come out, and he is just fine. It's really a 1v1. The rest of the players are still quite far away. Basetto does not want to leave, and he is rewarded because he doesn't leave. Gets the frag onto Legacy, spends his whole round outside of blue window, and ends up going down.
Not what Lowe's wants. After putting together an impressive comeback, they will get on the board this time, though, as STK dies. STK has been sensational the last little while, and his 10 kills will now match Basetto and Flastry's total. Perez is looking to start racking them up too. On Denari, his gadget might not be a huge point of contention, but his gun will be. He finds two, Flastry finds two, the round is over. And just like that, Loud have won 2 back-to-back rounds themselves and sit on match point.
And for the first time, it feels like all game, we get an actually fast round. They're in the bomb site before the last 60 seconds, which I can't say we've seen so far on Clubhouse, which doesn't really pay off for them. They maybe try to take a different look at that basement bomb site, but unfortunately Loud are very much ready for it. And I think at the same time that gets prompted by the fact that Loud are playing a bit more aggressive. Maybe they kind of read into the fact that, hey, they were letting Los get set up for 5v5 executes pretty consistently. Los, despite what happened in round 9, we're doing a great job at winning from those positions. So you say to yourself, let's get aggressive. Let's play over towards secret stairs. Let's get that opening pick on a Legacy. And after that happens, right, the rest of the players on Los decide, let's go hit the site. We're Damo's tracking a guy up above, so we know where he's at. There's another player over towards secret, so he's not going to be the bomb site. Let's just go in through Moto, see what happens. And what happens is they got met hard by the defending players on Loud. Big plays coming out from Paris to stop that initial rush, and the last couple of kills from Flastry as well. Solid anchor play coming out from those last guys on Loud. And despite the fact that I really still liked the push coming out from Los, I still think in the second half they played a pretty good game. They were at such a disadvantage coming into this half that they're really still on the ropes, and they will need to be even better than Loud were if they want to be able to win this game and force that OT.
Both teams have now used their timeouts, so we are just simply going with it for the remainder of this matchup. I thought we're not going to see fewer than 10 rounds. I feel vindicated, as that's what we've hit. But with how close all of the teams are today in the standings, barring a single game, I suspect that we're going to have deep matches for all of today. For people that are looking to get out of here early, I suppose that's bad news. For those of you that want competitive matches, which, as Dan joked about, was not something that we saw in the NA League this week at all. Jesse, you in particular, had a very lopsided day on Thursday. But we are being treated to the spectacle that is Brazilian Siege. Doesn't matter if it's the regions called Brazil or the South America League. These teams will never let things go quietly or quickly. 30 seconds in, it's a do or die round for Los. Loud sit on match point. They would love to jump up the standings. They are in a three-way tie. Loud guns down Kurtz, who gets boxed out of a tough spot, and now the Blackbeard of Arthur is in tow at bottom of red. But Loud will fall away, continuing to chip at that door. They're tempting Los in, hoping that Los will make yet another mistake that can be punished by Loud.
If I can steal a quote from the greatest to ever do it, why are you sprinting, Kurtz? Interesting entry in to try to take down Perez. Doesn't go his way. That's going to leave Los in a massive disadvantage in the most important round that they've had to play all day. Now with 4, they start to reposition a little bit. They're going to move themselves over towards Jacuzzi, start to work their way in through these master side of the map. Again, and a single CCTV cache attack today has gone through construction, so this one looks to be no different. Capital Band making that really tough. Flashy's playing pretty aggressive over on this side of the map, and he's got a couple of players with him, Basetto most notably, so we'll see what they can do. Very strong positions will have to be droned out and cleared. You don't want another Kurtz 5K type situation.
Los is just sitting and waiting now. Loud's giving them nothing. Perez takes down Farius, yet another roaming play from the castle, and there goes Legacy as well. Jesse, I think this might be curtains on this series. All 5 still alive on the side of Loud. Dark and Arthur will need to make this work. Dark leading the way with 10 kills on his team, but Los has struggled on the offensive front. Arthur shut down. We started on a flawless ace from Kurtz. Are we about to end on a flawless game on the side of Loud? They sure make it seem like that. Some not so pleasant words exchanged in chat as the final 30 seconds for Dark will determine whether we go on or whether this is it. And Loud will collect all 3 points. It was a bit of a scare for Loud at the beginning. Los took 2 very quick attacking round victories. But Loud's been playing the side correctly. Basetto will send us home as Loud wins 3 rounds in a row. The last one flawlessly to take all 3 points and in 11 rounds topple Los.